But Corey, I have other grievances tonight rather than just controllers.
Yeah, I figured you did.
It starts with Forsaken.
Forsaken.
This is kind of a bizarre content vaulting. I don't really get why the Tangled Shore is being vaulted and not the EDZ.
Why is the EDZ still there? Why?
Dude, like, listen, I go to the EDZ for one reason. I go to Trostland, and you know what I do? I just shoot the dregs around there to try out new weapons. I swear to fucking God, I have killed the boss under the EDZ, like underneath the church that Evrim is in, probably at least 1,000 times, and that's not an exaggeration. I really wish I had a tracker for how many times I've run into that lost sector to do bounties real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's become a game of how many can I do at once.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the EDZ exists for gunsmith bounties now. That's all it exists.
It really does. It really does for gunsmith and seasonal crap. It's bad. Like, oh, you need 100 shotgun kills? Well, looks like I'm running the lost sector under the church 3 times. That'll give me 100.
Yeah.
Like this is an announcement. Like, again, it kind of came out of nowhere. They didn't save it for the Chwab, which is also really weird. They dropped it on a Chwab day and didn't save it for the Chwab. So the DCV, and I like that they give us a bit of an explanation about how it's kind of impacted the game here at the beginning. Impact of the DCV can be seen through Destiny 2 from this is a laughable sentence, from very popular new activities such as battlegrounds that have persisted through year 4. Like, when's the last time anybody did a battleground? It was like the end of April, right?
I mean, I think a lot of people
did them after Splicer came out, did we?
I mean, I think a lot of people just move on to the next seasonal event, right?
Yeah.
Especially because, like, the Umbral Engrams, you can go back to previous seasons to do that.
Oh, yeah, and it doesn't cost you anything to do them either. I'm finding that out. So, hello, threaded needle grinding.
Yeah.
To innovations that have made the routine experiences of Destiny better for every player. For example, the DCV, Destiny Content Vault, has provided a great deal of technical breathing room that the team has devoted to important improvements to the Destiny experience. Upgrades such as drastically reducing patch response times, improving load speeds, offering quicker access to UI such as your inventory or the map, and others linked directly to the opportunities DCV created for the team. Cool. I like that we get that kind of explanation. I think it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you see that a game like Final Fantasy XIV or ESO run on these consoles and look pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, cool. We'll ignore that. We'll ignore that for right now. Following the release of the 30th anniversary celebration in December, Year 5 of Destiny 2 launches on February 22nd with the release of the Witch Queen. In addition to all that brand new content, we're bringing a carefully curated selection of content out of the vault, including a classic raid, 2 PvP maps from Destiny 2, and 1 classic map from the original Destiny. Well, that is not a carefully curated selection. That is the bare fucking minimum, okay? Like, I want to be really clear. If it was carefully curated, you'd be giving me Crota's End as a dungeon. You'd be giving me like 2 or 3 Destiny 1 strikes. You'd be giving me the Moon Strikes at the very least, right? Because that's a planet that we had in D1. Why do I not have the Taniks and Fogoth strikes in the game?
Especially the Taniks one, since, you know, he may or may not be the boss of the...
fucking wallop him like in every expansion. Why do I not have the original ass whoop? I'm just saying. I'm getting very upset about this.
I see
okay?
this. You're very
the upsetting part.
Josh, you're way more animated tonight than you usually are.
I have not been drinking either. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very hungry right now.
What's wrong with you?
The food that I just ate, even though we had a delay going live, the food I just ate is not holding me over. I realized around 7 o'clock that I had not eaten yet today. Like, the last thing I'd eaten was a sandwich at like 11 o'clock. And it's been 8 hours. I got a little hungry. And now I'm getting hangry. I'm getting hangry and angry. I said that I'd been talked off the ledge. It was a lie. I'm still very worked up.
If it makes you feel better, Josh, I had a microwavable breakfast sandwich for breakfast this morning at 5 a.m. And I didn't eat again until 6:30 p.m.
Oh, well, that is a problem. I do love those, but Jimmy Dean doesn't hold me that long. It holds me for like 3 hours.
These aren't even Jimmy Dean. They're the Aldi brand ones.
Aldi brand ones are pretty damn good.
I mean, that you're right. I'm just saying.
Enjoy those.
I'm just saying.
Beginning on February 22nd, the Forsaken campaign and the Tangled Shore will enter the DCV. Note, the Dreaming City will continue to be available. Okay, don't have a huge problem with that. I'm tired of looking at the Tangled Shore. Totally agree there. I was tired of it after about a year. I'm definitely tired of it after 3 years.
I was tired of it after Season of the Hunt for sure.
Oh, God, dude. The amount of times I did that first Wrathborn hunt just because it was the quickest one to do.
Oh, it was awful.
I had that thing down to a 90-second run.
It was awful.
It was awful. It was absolutely awful.
And I know we've been harping on this for like almost a year now. But goddamn,
fucking sucks.
Those things suck. Those things suck.
Right. I appreciate that it was content I could do solo and didn't need to like matchmake or like go in with a group for.
Right.
But holy God Almighty, they're bad. So don't have a huge problem with the Tangled Shore going away. Okay, fine. I feel like it's largely served its narrative purpose at this point. But again, a little bit baffling that it's going and the EDZ is not. I feel like if anything, the EDZ should have gone first, and maybe we tack the Tangled Shore onto that. It also has some of the best lost sectors, but we're gonna skip past all that. This means the Hollowed Lair is leaving Destiny 2, and that is just by far and away the best consequence, positive or negative, of this news. I never have to see that strike again. I'm tempted to not play it the rest of the season, even though it's up for 6 months as a Nightfall.
That's the one. That's the one where the boss at the end splits into two, right?
No, that's Broodhold. Hollowed Lair is the Fanatic. So he goes through all those stupid immune phases and
gotcha.
I'm going to send like 100 fucking enemies at you. Which, by the way, on a Master Nightfall, not a great experience.
No,
did some of those Eternal and Nerd earlier. The amount of stasis tornadoes being thrown was too high. There was just like pure ice in the back of the arena, I think, because we were all just throwing supers and chucking grenades and throwing stars back there. But I digress, Corey, because that's leaving, and it's the absolute worst strike. And
Josh is happy again, guys. Josh is happy.
Josh is happy. Yeah, I'm gonna go through a lot of ups and downs in this blog post. It's not a long blog post either, and it's still gonna happen like every paragraph. So while that will be vaulted, along with Year 4 seasonal content. Okay, we knew that was coming. Here's the kicker, including Presage and Harbinger exotic missions. Now, you may be asking yourself, Josh, I need a refresher on what Harbinger and Presage are. Those are Hawkmoon and Dead Man's Tale. Two of the most, if not the two most critically acclaimed pieces of content we got in the last year. Heir apparents to, no pun intended, to Whisper of the Worm and Outbreak Perfected's missions. And these are being taken out after a year.
Gosh, dude. I feel like if you haven't done Presage especially, like, oh my god, dude, that mission is so cool.
If you haven't done Presage, you're literally missing out on the best piece of content from this year.
Yeah. It's so
Straight
good.
up.
It's so
You're
good.
missing out on the single best mission I think that they have done all year.
Yeah.
And this isn't a year with, like, I think a lot of highlights. You are missing out. That and Harbinger, I think you're missing out on not just two of the best pieces, but they made those exotic missions. You needed to do them again, not just for like your catalysts. You didn't necessarily have to do your catalysts in there, but because they were random rolled exotics, because there was more story told through the Glycon. Like I ran it again with our friend Ray right before getting on this call, and he's only done it once, and we're trying to get him a Vorpal and a Substance one. I want to get him one of each, and then I want to take him through and get him the catalyst. Because God, if it's anything like the Outbreak catalyst, we're never going to see it again. It's a myth. That thing doesn't exist. I want to make sure that I'm able to get that for him, but to take those out, I think indicates a bit of a bigger problem, because I think you could have easily left those in.
You could, just like, especially Presage, since it doesn't even take place on the Tangled Shore. It takes place like on a ship in space.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, same with Presage. Presage takes place in the EDZ. I think you could, or not Presage, Harbinger.
Yeah.
I think you could take both of those, bump the difficulty down a little bit, maybe adjust the end boss in both just a tiny bit, and you could have put those into the Strikes playlist.
Yeah.
Which, as we see later on in this, is an option. Continuing to be the baffling part. So, We understand the unique value of these definitively Destiny experiences are in investigating ways to reprise and create new, exciting, exotic special missions within Destiny for the future. So what this does for me is confirm that we are going to get at least another mission like that within the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I've seen how wildly popular those were. And those are no small feat to build.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like those are unique instances with unique load-ins and things like that. And I think they're just relieved that they were received so well.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like you look at a lot of the exotic quests we've gotten this year. We got these two. The Aegir Scepter quest, I think, left a bit to be desired until you got to the final part where you actually got the gun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that part of the mission was really cool, and like the stories that you get about Mara and Uldren throughout it are really awesome. I kind of put that like almost on the same level as like Devil's Ruin was really cool to hear Saint, Osiris, and Shaxx talking together.
Yeah.
That was really special last year. But I like those. I like the Salvation Script mission. I think that was really cool. I think what Lament means in universe with the storytelling is really, really awesome.
Right.
And I think if we can keep getting more exotic quests like that rather than them just being handed out to us, I think that means a lot more. Like we talk all the time about how like Gjallarhorn was really one of the first missions that did that for us.
Mm-hmm.
When it was brought back in Rise of Iron, you had to forge it yourself, and how special that was. You had to go like stealth through the Plague Lands, assassinating everything basically, and then you get to it. You build. That's after you've done the Bannerfall mission,
mm-hmm.
which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You get unlimited ammo for this thing after you've held out long enough while it's being forged, and that is just one of the coolest things. Like the Iron Lords theme kick in. There's all these walkers out there, and you're just destroying everything with Gjallarhorn. That is one of the singular coolest experiences I've ever had in a Destiny game, in a Bungie game. And that like kind of sets the bar for me for an exotic mission, for something that's not a special instance like Outbreak or Whisper or Presage. Like, I want to see more things like that, and I like that they seem to be indicating that they're going to do that here. But I mean, again, there's no promise. Like, I would say at best, you're probably not getting one of those until the second season. I don't think you're going to get one in that first season.
Yeah, I definitely know.
Not with the weapon crafting and with the throne world and the
probably
raid
a new raid
else.
and everything. Like, you're not getting one.
Oh
of
yeah,
those. This is definitely like a.
We're going to get a pinnacle activity every season. Like, cool. So I would imagine you want to save quests like that, like Presage or Harbinger style quests, for your seasons when you have a dungeon as your main draw instead of a raid.
Yeah.
Just to kind of keep that content almost even. Like, well, you didn't get a raid, but you got you got a really special exotic mission, and you got a new dungeon. That's a fair trade-off for, well, these other seasons got raids. Let's keep going then. Okay. They say, we're vaulting this because that'll give us space to launch Witch Queen, launch the Throne World, weapon crafting, legendary campaign, glaive weapon, and additional content we have planned for the 4 new seasons. Here is my absolute favorite thing, though. So we noted above the very popular Battlegrounds activity.
It's so funny how they say that.
It's
so
like funny because
so,
I've never heard a single person say that.
Is there just a bunch of casual players like that just go and play Battlegrounds for fun? Like,
I don't know. I will say, out of all the seasonal content that I think we've ever gotten, I do think it is the most consistent. I've made the call here on this show, like, hey, these should have just been strikes.
Yeah.
And it appears now that Bungie has listened. While most of the Year 4 seasonal content will be vaulted, certain content will persist in Year 5, including the Proving Ground strike. Yeah, that better stay. You can't afford to take any more strikes out of the game. And Battlegrounds activities. Beginning in February, existing Battlegrounds will be combined with strikes into a new Vanguard Operations playlist that will be free for all players. In addition, Warden of Nothing will remain in the game and will be available to all players for free. Lastly, all of Spider's currency exchange functions will be taken over by Master Rahul in the tower when the Tangled Shore is moved into the vault. I actually am really cool with like all of this right here in this paragraph. Vanguard Operations, I think, is going to replace Vanguard Strikes. Cool. Like, Battlegrounds are 3-person activities anyways. There was no reason why those couldn't have been strikes to begin with. So I think that kind of gives you a little bit of padding there too. I'm curious to know if any of those will ever be given like Grandmaster difficulty, because I think those could be really cool if done correctly. I like this, and I like that they specifically say existing battlegrounds. So that kind of gives credence to, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, that Battlegrounds is ripe to get a new iteration this next year. Because the Keitel storyline isn't over, but maybe it's not even Keitel. Maybe you're helping Keitel on a new offensive fighting the Vex. There's Vex incursions happening across. They're in the Cosmodrome for the first time. They're trying to invade the Throne World or something else. Like, there's 3 destinations for those. And, well, we're just going to take these and we're going to put these into the playlist. If that's a new way to, like, generate more strikes, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
If you want to call them that initially, go for it. Fine. Like, I think they're going to get away from calling them strikes, and calling them operations does seem a little bit better, I think.
Yeah.
Because right now, you go into Vanguard and they say, like, oh, well, you can play Battlegrounds and that'll keep your streak going. Like, I mean, I'd rather just go run a Vanguard strike and be done with it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to go sit in a 20-minute activity, but I do think that's going to inject some much-needed life. That's 3 new activities, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Is there 3 or 4 Battlegrounds? I don't remember.
I think
there's 4. There's 4. So that's 4 more things to be put in that playlist, and Proving Grounds is already in there. So cool. Spider's Currency. This should not have taken this long. 3 years is way too long for this to happen. From the minute that we were able to trade materials, we're like, oh, you need to move that to like Banshee or something.
Somewhere some people actually go.
Especially because right now, if you're in a playlist, you can go to the tower, you can go to the helm perfectly fine. You can't go to the Tangled Shore to Spider. That actually kills your streak. I found that out when I was doing trials. It killed my Crucible streak, and I couldn't figure out why. Because I never went to anything else. I went there, and I went to the tower. So, you know, deductions, that's what happens. And I think that's really frustrating for a lot of players to have something like that happen, especially when the reputation system is so new and so raw. Ward and Nothing Remaining, cool. We know why that's staying, why that gets to stay. It's in its own instance. Makes sense. The others you spawn into patrol areas. You simply can't keep those. I mean, you can, but you'd have to wall everything off. You'd basically have to be in a dome, which would probably create even more complaints.
Right.
Then you guys couldn't have found somebody better to give it to than Rahul?
I mean, he's got nothing better to do, I guess.
I mean, listen, I try to avoid going to Rahul as much as possible. I don't want to be going up to him every time I need to go get legendary shards and I'm being like, what cipher is this, Guardian? The one where I punch your ass off the tower.
What can I do for you today, Guardian?
You can go jump off the tower near Zavala like the rest of us.
But he'll just resurrect because he has a ghost.
Fortunately. Forsaken campaign will be available for all players from December 7th until it enters the vault in February. That's cool. I like that they specifically say here, this is the chance to relive or to live Forsaken's epic narrative and experience the origins of Uldren before he became Crow. I think that is really important, and I think that hints that Crow is going to continue playing a big part in the story going forward. But this is maybe, for me, this next part may be the best. Because never, ever underestimate Bungie's ability to make a dime off of something. Beginning on December 7th, the Forsaken Pack will be available for purchase and will include access to the Last Wish Raid, the Shattered Throne Dungeon, and access to all of the Forsaken exotics. Forsaken Pack will also include 3 Forsaken ciphers that can use to instantly unlock your choice of Forsaken exotics, not including raid and dungeon exotics, via the kiosk in the tower. Everyone who previously purchased Forsaken will automatically own the new pack and will receive the 3 ciphers directly in their inventory. If you already have every Forsaken exotic weapon, those ciphers will be converted to Ascendant Shards. Okay, cool. So basically I get 3 golf balls for them doing this.
Neat.
It's good for people like Ray who are lapsed, or people who really skipped a couple of years there, skipped maybe the DLC, but played like base Forsaken. I was talking to him earlier, and I was like, man, you can get Jotun, you can get La Monarch, you can get Izanagi's Bird and Thorn, Last Word. Like, there's so many good weapons that were in there. Lumina. Bad Juju's not as good anymore, but it's still in there. Truth is in there. Like, that's a great run. Ace of Spades. That's a great run of exotics.
Yeah, it's probably like overall, like in terms of quality throughout all of them, that's probably like near the top.
It's definitely, I think it's got the best selection of exotics for an actual like base release, and then like its seasonal content after. Like, we've had great exotics in every release, but man, it's hard to top that.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm okay with this. So I got 3 golf balls that are going to go straight to my Postmaster because I have no room for them. I hope that they're just like held there and I can claim them anytime I want them.
Yeah.
So then they're just going to sit there forever. Cool. I guess the phrasing of this is really funny because I can't believe that anybody thinks that Battlegrounds is a wildly popular activity. Like during the season, sure, it probably was. We were all praising it during the season. We did it here on this show almost every week. It's a great activity, but we started getting tired of it like we do every seasonal activity. It being mixed up into strikes, I think, is a lot better for it and will make me hate it less. But and it makes sense. Unlike you can't throw expunges in there, or overrides. You can't throw overrides. You could probably throw the expunges in, but I don't think there's enough combat in those to justify having those.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still personally think at least Presage could be a strike.
Yeah.
With a little bit of adjustment. But I don't know.
If you like just adjusted, like at least even like instead of the jumping puzzle on the outside, like just open the door right there, right? When you land, like even that would shorten it up quite a bit and just, maybe adjust a couple things inside.
I don't think you need to shorten it up. I think you need to adjust like the trash compactor and probably the boss battle a little bit. But other than that, I don't think you need to do anything else.
Yeah, like maybe you don't have the trash compactor. Maybe you just have to like shoot the hole in the floor and go.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not really sure. Like maybe I'm just like talking out of my ass here because I really don't want to see that mission go.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's easier to adapt than Harbinger. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a shame that okay, now they got to determine what's like. How are we going to continue to let you earn dead bands and Hawkmoon? And that's something they talk about in this post is they haven't quite determined how they're going to do that. I'm like, maybe you shouldn't be vaulting that shit then without a plan.
Right.
Because we saw what happened with the catalyst for Whisper and for Outbreak, and I still don't have those. A year after being promised there would be ways to earn it this year.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bent out of shape over it. Maybe hint hint, you should throw that shit into the Zur dungeon that we're getting in the loot cave. But what do I know? What do I know?
What do you know, Josh?
I know that we have a TWAB this week. In addition to this, as upset as I am about some of that.
Are we moving on to the TWAB?
Part of it is I am being a little outrageous. But I do think it's time for the Tangled Shore to go bye-bye. My personal feelings about the Dance Club Lost Sector aside, it is definitely time for the Tangled Shore to go away. I also hope it's the beginning of the end of not having to see the Scorn. Because they're only going to be in one destination after this, and God knows I don't go to the Dreaming City unless I have to.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm almost done with the Scorn. Maybe. Hopefully. Who knows? You're getting rid of Hollowed Lair, which is just hands down one of the absolute worst strikes in the game. It's in the top 3. Top 3, just terrible strikes. Terrible strikes. It's up there with Exodus Crash and the Corrupted, and it's really hard to get up there. Like, it's actually a really well thought out mission, but I think it would have worked. I think taking down the Fanatic in his Resurgence would have worked so much better as a dungeon. Yeah. It just feels really weird for it to be a strike. Like, It is. I don't know. The immune phases bother me too. Like, I get why they do them, but the immune phases bother me. It's just there's a lot of just rough parts when you're doing that as a Nightfall.
Yeah.
But hey, I did it on Master. Maybe I'll attempt to run a Grandmaster this weekend on it.
Do it. Then I can call you the Flawless Grandmaster.
Jesus Christ. Let's